Hi everyone, welcome back to my no-buy year and the last video in my sales survival week. Today's video is going to be a series of 5 kind of categories of products with examples that I regret buying. Things that I wish I never bought. And most of these were influenced. You can also consider this video a kind of public service announcement to not buy this stuff. Please don't buy this stuff. And I'll tell you why. This is kind of a continuation of how to not regret your purchases, things I regret buying. And I think these are different things than I talked about in that video. Apologies if there are doubles and duplicates, because I didn't refer to that video before filming this, but there we are. I still regret these things. And again, perhaps use this as motivation to not buy more stuff, because in some ways the best way to avoid regret is to not buy something in the first place. I also had a comment in one of the more recent videos about feeling influenced and how I talked through some of the things I was influenced to buy and regret, and they were asking for some more examples of things, and hopefully that person is watching this video so that I can deliver on that. More things that I was influenced to buy that I really regret. Deep diving into the reasons. Now, the first thing that sparked the idea for this video actually, and perhaps the biggest regret, is these CARAWAY cookware pans. This might be a hot take, but I wish pans like this didn't even exist. Ceramic coated cookware. And the reason why I think these are so bad is because they degrade and they cannot last years and years and years and years. They can't last forever. They have to be replaced when that ceramic coating inevitably wears off. And mine are really dirty. I got some comments in the video where I first showed these of everything I was influenced to buy. I didn't really do deep dives in that video because I showed an hour's worth of stuff that I was influenced to buy. But I got some comments about how these pans are so dirty because I just didn't clean the bottom of them. I mean, it may be true, but at the same time, when I tried to clean them, I can't scrub this too hard because otherwise the yellow enamel comes off. So I am not really interested in having a pan that you have to clean every single time you use it. You can't let it sit overnight and try to clean it the next day or whatever. And, you know, I might just not be responsible enough to have pans like this. However, what I was saying earlier is that I don't really think these should exist at all because the ceramic on the inside degrades and they do need to be replaced. And I was looking on the CARAWAY website and on the internet in general about what to do with these pans when you can't use them anymore, when the nonstick stops working. What do you do? What can you do with all this raw material? And there were some sources that said they can be recycled at scrap metal facilities, not your normal metal facilities, because they have to be kind of taken apart, the coating needs to be removed, and all of that to get to the raw metal materials. CARAWAY said they have this partnership on their website where you can send them in or whatever. And I clicked on that link and I got a web page cannot be found message, or it actually was just blank. Like there was no message on the website either. So if that was just user error and there is actually a website that links from the CARAWAY website to connect with this recycling facility, let me know. I'll try it again before I throw these in the trash or try to find some other practical use for them. Again, comment if you have ideas down below, but I don't really want to have excess junk in my life. You know, I'm not going to put plants in this or anything like that. So, you know, realistic ideas only, maybe. But I really, really regret making this purchase. Not just because it was hundreds of dollars. In fact, you know, the money is in the past. The time that we spent earning the money and all of that is in the past. And that's not my regret so much as the fact that I now have these huge hunks of metal that I don't know what to do with except send to landfill. And how many people are in that boat? Same as me, sending these massive amounts of resources, maybe not in the grand scheme of things, but for an everyday person's life. You know, I have 4 of these pots and pans, and I did not intend to have these as temporary pans, but I just didn't know any better at the time. And when I was consuming all of the influenced content about those pans, they didn't focus on the fact that the ceramic coating wears off. They focused on the fact that it was, oh, magical non-stick, and it's so easy to cook on these, and they're beautiful, and they look so good in the kitchen, and they're so easy to store, all the good things, right? They left out the massive glaring detail of the fact that they will not last forever. And that is unacceptable to me. And I recently purchased some pans, my husband and I purchased some pans from All-Clad that were probably the same price, similar price to these CARAWAY sets. However, they're stainless steel and they're meant to last forever. and you can clean them, you can scrub them, you can learn how to cook on them so that they behave kind of like non-stick. Maybe you have to use a little bit more fat in the pan, grease or oil or whatever. That's not something that bothers me, and I would rather learn how to cook on a pan that can last forever than be stuck purchasing a cycle of ceramic coated pans that have to be replaced, and then you have this what feels like a huge amount of resources just being thrown straight into the trash. And I actually, again, this is my hot take, that these pans just should not exist. Pans that aren't able to last forever. Things that use this amount of resources, again, relatively speaking, for a person's life, like what other huge pieces of metal do we have? Like cars, housewares, you know? These things should be designed to last as long as they possibly can. So this really, really bothers me and is a huge regret. And I urge you, don't buy these pans. Just don't do it, okay? Start with one stainless steel pan and go from there. Start with cast iron if you like cast iron. We have one of those too. These things that you don't actually have to throw away, that you can pass on to somebody new. That was one of the things that the CARAWAY website did suggest, is like, if your pans still have life in them, pass them on or donate them. I can't donate these. The coating is worn off. They're not non-stick anymore. They look horrible. You know, they're dirty. Even though I have tried to be kind of careful cleaning them, the enamel is still chipped away in some places here. Like, this has no practical value to anybody, and it's just so frustrating. And I only had these for 2 to 3 years. We purchased them when we moved into our apartment in the city where we currently live, and we've been here for 3 approaching 4 years now. I will say that not all of these pans are completely dead. However, this one is all scratched up on the inside from my mom visiting and using metal utensils, even though we told her not to, but what can you do? So this one is compromised in the coating. The large one is a little bit better than this, but for various reasons, you know, even if they're not completely defunct, we chose to get the set of the all-clad pans so that we can buy once and cry once. We did not get them in Black Friday sales or anything. We got them a little bit earlier. I also got some comments on that video talking about the pans to stop using pans with compromised ceramic coating because they could be leaching other harmful substances into the food. So whatever your personal thoughts are on that, we have replaced these pans and intend to use the pans we got now for the rest of our lives. And I just don't want to be buying anything that doesn't last anymore, like ever again in any category, to the best of my ability. I understand that technology will upgrade and need replacing, or softwares will slow down and be replaced, but a pan that you cook with on the stove? No. To some degree, things like cars? No. Like, yes, there's electric technology now and different ways of fueling your cars, you know, hybrids and whatever. And there will come a time, I'm sure, where we have to switch, you know, fuel sources. But as far as new cars being manufactured every single year and parts for old ones becoming unavailable, if it's not in the name of efficiency, I just have no patience for that anymore. This is kind of becoming a video of things that I don't like and consumer things that I hate. Let's get back to specific things that I was influenced to buy that I regret. Okay, the next big category is clothing. Especially clothing from specific brands that are super influencer focused. So my 2 most recent examples you have already seen in videos. This is from the brand Sezane, and again I mentioned the brands because they're specifically very influencer hyped, not to influence you or not to put value on these brands. This is a shirt by Reformation, and again, Sezane, Reformation, super hyped influencer brands. Objectively fine clothes, right? Nothing wrong with them. They look objectively nice, I would even say, right? You could see somebody wearing these and they would look probably very nicely dressed. But they are not my style. And I wanted them because I saw people talking about them. You know, beautiful people talking about them, people who seem to have their lives together and to have good style, to have good enough style to be able to tell other people about style, which I have mixed feelings about that too, right? Style influencers, you know, who are these people to tell the general public about what's good style and what's not? I think I talked about this earlier this week, where it's pretty subjective whether something looks better or not. And not only that, but why are we putting more value on looking better versus not? Like, why is it something to strive for to look better? And I am just starting to have enough with that mentality. If people are going to judge people for wearing ratty old clothes or clothes that aren't stylish, then what are we doing? Like, that's not the importance of existing as a human in this world. We need to think about people's characters and their actions, how they treat people, how they behave, much more highly. You know, we need to place more value on that than we do on their material possessions and how they outwardly present themselves. And that's the bottom line, like, period. I am starting to see the consumer landscape in a radically different way because of this thought, right? Anytime I see a style video now that's like, wear this, not that. Wear this to look younger, wear this to look taller, wear this to look slimmer, whatever it is. My thoughts are, why? Why do I care about looking taller, slimmer, younger, shorter, you know, whatever, as a tall person? Why do I care about looking a certain way? Like, yes, I understand that there's confidence in feeling like we look good, but why does what I think looks good have to come from so many exterior sources of advice? And then the kicker is, so many of these videos will have links of affiliate purchases, things that give a kickback to the creator. Some of them will have direct sponsorships for things to buy. It's all just noise to get us to want things, to buy into these narratives that we could be better in some way and that we're currently not good enough somehow, even if we don't think about it that seriously. I'm just sick of being told that I need new clothes or different clothes, or that I could be looking better in my clothes, even if it's the idea that wearing sweatpants at home is not living up to my full potential. No, I'm living up to my full potential in my sweatpants, thank you very much. And my choice of pants attire has no bearing on how intelligent I am, how productive I am, how put together I am, how much value I have in society, how much care I have about myself, just because I choose to wear pants that aren't tailored and structured and flattering and higher value, you know, cost more money or are arguably more stylish and trendy. It doesn't say anything about me as a person. So there. Anyway, all of that to say, influenced style, or style as presented by people online, and most of the purchases I made in those categories, things that I saw from influencers online, are a major regret, and I will not be doing that anymore. In fact, my goal ultimately is to not be buying any clothes on a regular basis. And those of you who have been around for this year know that I've not been doing that great, even though it's my no-buy. And I do intend to pull up my britches and wear my existing britches and not buy any more britches in the year 2025. So come back and see if I've managed to actually stay true to my word. In the same kind of realms, influenced jewelry or watches or just the pretty shiny things that, again, are so often sponsored and have kind of a status connotation, right? I've been seeing lately sponsorships including diamonds, diamond jewelry, and, you know, before that it was like the solid gold or gold vermeil or whatever it was, the Mejuri's and the Ideal jewelry and the Ana Luisa or whatever. And, you know, the one I have right here is the Nordgreen watch, right? I don't know if this is a precious metal thing. It was like a sustainability initiative where you could change the straps and have different looks, and it's supposedly consciously made and whatever. But this is a regret. The jewelry I have, most of that is a regret too. And there are a couple of pieces that I have that I use and wear, but I'm going to be totally honest here. I actually don't think any of the pieces I bought because of influence are among my favorites. Not a single one. And they're certainly not among my everyday wear. Maybe the ring that I wear is the one exception, because this is a Justine LeConte ring and she is a kind of fashion influencer. So, okay, one exception. But there's something personal about the jewelry, the shiny things we adorn ourselves with. And that personal element is often stolen away by influencers or by purchasing based on exterior influence that's not in our personal realm. I think traditionally jewelry is often a gift from people special in our lives. So parents, brothers, sisters, spouses, friends. And when we act on jewelry purchases from parasocial relationships, we lose that specialness of the connection and perhaps the occasion, right? The engagement ring, the occasion of committing to a lifetime with somebody. And at least my engagement ring was not a result of influence, right? I wasn't asking my partner to get a specific diamond brand of engagement ring. But I think the notion of these kind of more special items that were associated with other reasons, connections and occasions, becoming more popular in the influencer sphere is somehow abhorrent to me. And again, I'm using kind of strong language in this video, but I have reached this point of looking at my previous decisions and thinking, that's really icky, it's really yucky, and I really regret deeply some of the choices that I made. I'm not attached to that regret. I'm not kind of ruminating in it, and I'm just kind of having a rant here for this video. So it's not like I wake up every day and I think, oh, I spent so much money and wasted time and I'm so heartbroken about the mistakes I made in the past. No, it's not like that. So don't come for me in that regard, or if you can come for me if you want. I don't care. I will chat to you in the comments. But the pretty shiny things, also the notion that accessories make the outfit, like that is completely contrived, right? A lot of these accessories that you'll see influencers hyping up in their style and outfit videos are totally outside the realms of what is practical for many people. Anybody who works with their hands is not going to be wearing 15 rings to some degree, right? Some jobs that work with their hands, I'm sure you can do that, but many people probably do not find it practical to wear 17 rings and long dangly earrings and chunky necklaces every single day. We don't need as much as these people are suggesting we do. The outfits that have sunglasses to complete the outfit, like, what are you doing all day that you have sunglasses as part of your outfit, or your coat as part of your outfit? Most of us take these things off when we go to our jobs, right? No, I mean, we don't need accessories to make our outfit. In fact, we don't even need an outfit that's made, right? We could just show up in the clothes that we like and find comfortable and maybe feel true to ourselves, and that should be good enough. We don't need to be told what to wear by influencers, people online, magazines even, fashion experts or whatever. It doesn't even have to be an influencer these days, but you get my drift. Anybody who's influencing our opinion, marketing counts as well, right? We don't need to be told that mom deserves to have these gifts by the magazine we got in the mail, right? It's just getting more and more icky to me as more and more time passes, where I'm consciously trying to be a better consumer. But yeah, in my case, this watch was an unbelievable waste of time and money. And I wish I could just have my couple $100s back and not have the watch. The next category is self-care. We knew this was coming, right? And in my case, the biggest glaring examples are these bathrobes. These were everywhere on social media. They might still be, but I don't know anymore because I've removed myself from social media. So these bathrobes, and I have not one, but two from this brand, Jerf Avenue. Again, I'll mention it because I'm kind of calling out the brands I was influenced to buy by people online and the online just consumer landscape. The fruit print, I think in particular, was iconic and seen everywhere online. And eventually, despite knowing that I'm not a huge bathrobe person, I caved and bought the $125 bathrobe, which, you know, all of these things that I have in front of me, it's just a set of pants, a couple of shirts, a couple of bathrobes, and a watch here. It's probably over $1,000 easily of money that I could have in my emergency fund or in my retirement account. But anyway, so the bathrobes. I have owned a bathrobe before and decluttered said bathrobe. But for whatever reason, I thought I had to have this bathrobe. I thought this one would be different. It would make me feel like some glorious feminine self-care spa princess. And I won't lie, it is nice to have sometimes, and I do like how it looks. However, I could like a number of different bathrobes. It doesn't have to be this specific one. It doesn't have to be the $125 influencer brand It Girl bathrobe for me to get the same benefits out of it. I do think there is a limit to how good a quality something like a bathrobe can be. And I got some of these comments in the video where I talked about wanting $500 jeans, about how there has to be a limit to reasonable price for things like this, a limit that kind of reflects the improvements in quality or ethical labor, sustainability, etc. And I'm totally on board with that, with the idea of something like these bathrobes. I might still be working on unlearning that narrative as far as the jeans, but with the bathrobes, I totally get it. There is a cap to material quality, craftsmanship, print, style, design, etc. And that cap is probably lower than $125 for most people. You know, maybe $50 for a nice bathrobe would be reasonable. Again, I'm just pulling numbers out of the air, so I haven't done any research. This could be out of touch for most people. But a luxurious bathrobe, as far as the value that it serves in my personal life, should probably not have cost more than $50. And then again, the discussion of value in an individual's life, you know, maybe a $500 pair of jeans is more valuable to somebody who loves jeans and wears them every day and has more of a joy association with how their jeans look and fit. I don't have that big of a joy association, you know, joy per wear for this bathrobe. So it was not wise of me to fall for seeing it everywhere on social media. And again, what was I really trying to buy when I bought this bathrobe? Was it the leisure time that these women seem to have to take long baths in their bathroom or have self-care days that I just don't currently have in my current time of life? Clearly buying the bathrobe didn't buy me that time. It didn't buy me the pampering sessions that these people were displaying. It didn't buy me the mental health and the de-stressing benefits. It didn't buy me a more feminine energy. And that's not something that can be bought either. It can be cultivated. I can be that if I want to. But it was a case where I saw it and I momentarily wanted it, and I bought the thing that I associated with that desire. And that never pans out. And I'm finally learning that and transmitting that message out here on the internet. I think part of it also was the illusion of luxury, right? Spending more than you really need to on something is kind of synonymous with the idea of luxury in some ways. And I think actually it's one of the keys to luxury, right? The fact that you can buy a $10,000 bag makes it luxury, because not everybody can afford to do that. It's a little bit reckless, it's a little bit stupid. Even if you have the money, that's not really the greatest place to put the money, arguably. And again, I'm not judging anybody else who has done this, who wants to do this, who's planning to do this. I am just kind of responding to both conversations I've had with people related to me wanting expensive things and just the narratives in society at large. Again, I'm not trying to attack, I'm not trying to judge, I'm not trying to project. But I do think that this idea that the expensive equates with luxurious is maybe misguided as well. What are the true luxuries of life? And again, we can refer back to my video of things that I want and appreciate that cannot be bought. I think those are actually the true luxuries of life. Having the time, having the attention, having the creativity, having energy and health to some degree. I didn't really mention that in that video in a direct way. But these are the luxuries that cannot be purchased, no matter how nice our handbags are, no matter how nice our bathrobes are, no matter how fancy our bath salts and bath bombs and soaps and whatever else is in those self-care videos, snacks and Stanley cups and chocolates and whatever, whatever we're treating ourselves to. Even if those things, you know, the chocolates and the bath bombs or whatever, are not as big ticket as far as how much we pay, the price, buying those is not the same as buying the luxury and the experience. We can probably replicate 99% of the experience just by having a regular warm bath without the bath bombs, using our regular towel without the bathrobe. The increase in parallel experience by having the exact things that the influencer has or the person who's showing the items has is not worth the value of the price we pay. The time we spent browsing, the justifications in our mind, using our energy, our mental energy, to go through these hoops, these practices, rather than towards other, more creative, more meaningful, more fulfilling, more connective pursuits. It's all an illusion. The last thing I'm going to talk about is any kind of health-related product. I kind of alluded to this earlier when I was talking about the plastic and the pans and all that. But those of you who've been here know that I've talked about the greens powder multiple times. It was on my last video of things I regret buying. I know that as a fact. But now that I'm a little bit further removed from it, even more, more removed, I've seen even more comments and more other sources about how these kind of nutritional superfoods have been debunked so many times, and how it is kind of a scam. It is preying on people who just desperately want to be healthier and giving them an easier solution than fixing their diet and exercising. And it's kind of like a placebo solution, because it might prevent them from doing the work, or, prevent me from doing the work of really figuring out my health instead of just taking the easy way out. And so I'm even more mad about these things preying on people now, the supplements, the greens, the protein cereals, or whatever it is, that are trying to give us this sense that we are doing something for ourselves through buying the thing. And another kind of annoyance with this is oftentimes it's a heavily processed food source that's not actually good for us, arguably, if you're trying to eat a more whole foods diet, which is one of my current goals as well. Conscious consuming of food, you could say. But I don't want to trigger anybody by talking too much about food and diet, so I'm going to leave that topic there. But it's just the category of expertise used in a way to sell a product is kind of the overarching blanket for the greens powder, right? I thought that nutritional experts had formulated this product to help people get what they need to feel better, to be healthier. And any product that kind of has that umbrella of expertise behind it. It could be like a dental product. I know I've fallen for one of those before. It could be a mental health product. It could be something that promises to help you achieve certain goals or habits. It could be productivity related. All of these things that so-called gurus or even people with real qualifications will sometimes talk about in sponsored ways or even formulate themselves, right? Some of these companies were started by people with qualifications. And I am just so much more wary of that now. So much more wary of anybody writing a self-help book or promoting a product they created to solve a problem that they see. And most of the time, the problems that humans will have can probably be solved by the oldest and the tried and true, the things that your grandma would tell you, you know, eat whole foods, get some exercise, get enough sleep, de-stress, read some books, go touch grass, or whatever the kids are saying these days. And all of the fancy things that are available for purchase are just noise. All of the things that promise to make our lives easier won't really make our lives easier. They're just going to clutter up our space and take money out of our wallets. And also put stress on our minds when we devote so much of our time and energy to wanting things, looking for things to want, buying things, talking ourselves into and out of buying things. And while I am currently at the stage where talking myself out of buying something is something I like to observe and practice, I do hope that eventually I will leave that behind too, and that I'll reach the point where I no longer have to do that. I'll just intuitively know whether something is going to add enough value to my life to be worth what I pay for it and worth the time I invest in it or not. Is that even possible, to just intuitively know that kind of stuff? Sometimes when I think about this, I think about how kids behave and how sometimes they'll seem to want something with the fire of 1,000 suns. And the next day, next hour sometimes, next 5 minutes even, they'll totally forget about it. If it comes up again, they might still say that they want it, but for the most part, I wonder if the lack of ability rather, to actually acquire these things for themselves makes it easier to let go of the idea. Whereas when you become an adult, you all of a sudden have the ability to buy whatever you want. You know, you might have to save for it, you might have to put it on a credit card if you don't have the money, and you might have to be irresponsible in other ways, but you can technically get almost everything that we want. Okay, maybe not if you want super yachts and mansions and fancy cars, but smaller material goods, right? Whereas as a child, you cannot. And so I wonder if that parameter of not being able to buy it, which I tried to artificially put on myself during this no-buy year to varying levels of success. But the idea that not being able to buy something makes it easier to stop wanting it is something that I'm currently thinking about too. I do think the goal is, even as a child, to grow up and be able to not want something even though you know you can have it. And that might also be one of the healthier ways to cultivate a mentality, not of scarcity, as somebody growing up, right? Because when I was growing up, there was a lot that I couldn't have that I wanted. And I wonder as well if that contributed to overbuying a little bit in my young adulthood. So I will be wading through those waters and trying to instill responsible consumerism habits. I think I talked about that in my reacting to Reddit posts video as well, because there was a post on there about trying to make kids responsible consumers. So I'll be trying to do that in the years to follow as well, to pass on the legacy of trying to avoid the purchase mistakes and not become hyper-consumers, not have to go through this phase of buying too much to get to the point of freedom from wanting, buying, desiring, always trying to pursue the next thing. Finding external value from things that we can own and purchase rather than in things that we can do and think and create and just be, knowing as well that we don't have to do anything to be valuable, to have value. You can't make yourself more valuable than any other human. And once we truly understand that, there is a tremendous sense of freedom from the external pressures that would like us to believe that we can purchase our way into greater value. If you want to see the full video of things I was influenced to buy, that video is here. If you somehow haven't seen that, it's definitely the most viewed video on my channel. It's at like 74,000 views or something, which is kind of embarrassing to think about it. I'm sure more things in that video are actually regrets as well, some of which have already departed my life even since filming that video. Needless to say, there's still more work to be done. I'm realizing I forgot to talk about this setting spray, which was again an influenced makeup / luxury purchase because I saw everybody talking about the Charlotte Tilbury Fancy Pants brand setting spray, and I thought, well, let me just try this knockoff version and see if I like the experience of setting spray. And every time I use it, I feel like an idiot. I feel like a cat spraying myself in the face with water for doing something bad. I didn't need a setting spray. I never felt the need for the setting spray. I never felt a lack of this in my wardrobe, in my makeup collection rather, and I bought it anyway. And now it's probably gonna go in the trash. And add to the list of specific regrets of things I bought because of influence. And now my face is wet. And I feel the fool that I truly am for falling into these traps in the first place. But it's okay. We are all wise and we're all fools. And with that, I will say bye for now. And I will see you in the next one, which might be the first video of Vlogmas. Merry Christmas in advance. Things that I saw from influencers online are a major regret.